All right, welcome to this week's edition of Peomiosfyrds. I'm Colton Hagstrom, and joined alongside me is Alex Berger and Blake Harmit. How are you guys doing today?
Doing so well. I'm so glad we can talk about sports and not politics this week. I can't talk about it anymore.
I'm with you on that, Alex. I'm doing great. You know, it was a bit of a weird weekend in college football. We'll talk about that later, but a pretty decent weekend in the NFL. Our Warhawks closed out the season undefeated in football, so it was a good weekend.
Yeah, speaking of the Warhawks, let's get it right into the Warhawk Roundup. The second-ranked UW-Whitewater football team defeated UW-South this past Saturday to finish their regular season undefeated. The Warhawks won the game 34-16 behind freshman Cam Malley's 165 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. UW-Whitewater will host Lakeland College this Saturday in the first round of the NCAA Division III Football Championship. The 11th-ranked Warhawk volleyball team's season was ended this past Saturday. UW-Whitewater lost to 16th-ranked Washington St. Louis in the Whitewater Regional Championship in 4 sets. The Warhawks finished the season 24-7, and the team will be losing 6 seniors. The 7th-ranked UW-Whitewater women's soccer team has advanced to the Sweet 16 for the 3rd time in school's history. The Warhawks won the first game of the D3 tournament 3-0 against Minnesota Morris. Then, in the second game of the tournament, UW-Whitewater defeated Loras College 3-0. The Warhawks will take on 18th-ranked Peomiosfyrds for the Sweet 16 game. All right, what do you guys think of the football game this weekend?
I was super impressed. I seriously don't think that they're going to lose at this rate. You know, they're such a good team, and they actually have the flow going on right now. So, you know, good job to them.
Yeah, they're playing really well. A little bit of a nerve-wracking part, you know, right around the third quarter there. I checked the score and noticed that they were losing. Got a little worried, but they pulled it out and ended up winning by a pretty large margin. So I think they'll be okay in the playoffs. Also got to take note, Mount Union lost in the regular season, ending their 112-game regular season win streak. So, I mean, that'll put them on the other side of the bracket, which they wouldn't have been on our side of the bracket anyways. But, you know, it's shaping up to be a really interesting playoff run here.
Yeah, you speak of the Mount Union loss. Mount Union, obviously the number 1 team that usually combats Whitewater in that national championship game. And it is crazy that they lost their first regular season game in 112 contests. Another thing, you guys might have recognized that I said the name Cam Malley instead of Drew Patterson. Drew Patterson got injured a couple of weeks ago, and Cam Malley, he filled in well, but the question will be, do you guys think that he'll be able to continue that into the D3 football playoffs?
I think so, just because he's a freshman. I think he has that confidence and momentum going, you know, to not let anyone down and especially not let the team down. So it's a lot of pressure for him, but I think he can do it.
You know, he's gotten a taste of the offense at this point, and they're a very run-oriented offense. So I think with the coaching that they have, he'll be all right.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think the biggest strength of our running game is our offensive line, and that's something that really doesn't matter who's in the backfield. But it is a huge loss for the Warhawks that Drew Patterson, we spoke of it, he played really well for about a 4-week stretch, getting almost 150 yards a game every game, it seemed like. And that's a huge thing that they will be losing. The team that they're going to take on in that first round of the playoffs is the 7-3 Lakeland University Muskies. Do you guys think that Lakeland really has a shot in that game?
They have a record of 4-1 away. So I think that they're going to be a tough team to beat, but I don't think that they're going to be any problems.
Yeah, you know, Perkins Stadium's a tough place to play. So I think in the end, Warhawks come out with it, but I'm expecting a good game.
Yeah, and as much as I love talking about Warhawk football, let's move it into the NFL and the Packers.
The Packers suffered another loss on Sunday, taking their record 4-5 to the Tennessee Titans. Aaron Rodgers didn't complete a pass until there was 8 seconds left in the first quarter. Rodgers also went pass-heavy again, throwing 51 times. He came alive in the second quarter, but failed to keep up with the Titans quarterback, Marcus Mariota. Does Aaron Rodgers deserve all the blame, or does something else need to change?
All right, I'm going to give you a little stat here, guys. Aaron Rodgers on the season has 22 passing touchdowns. He has 3 rushing touchdowns. The Green Bay Packers have 25 touchdowns as a whole. You guys want me to do the math again? 22, 3, 25. That means Aaron Rodgers has scored literally has been a part of every single touchdown that the Packers have had this season. So you can't put any of the blame. You spoke about the part of him not completing a pass till almost the end of the first quarter. Well, the Packers went 3 and out. You can put that on him. But then the Packers gave up an onside kick. He really didn't have the opportunities to get a completed pass there in that first quarter. And really, I mean, he's basically all the offense that they have. It's the defense that's holding him back. You can't give up, 47 points to the Tennessee Titans and expect to win any game. So I can't put any of the blame on A-Rod.
I don't know, despite the fact that I'm a Bears fan, I'm not going to put all the blame on Aaron Rodgers. But I am going to put part of it on there because he's not getting rid of the ball quick enough. He's not getting out of the pocket as fast as he needs to be. Yes, his receivers are struggling, and yes, his defense is struggling big time. And, you know, you look at the offense, yeah, their receivers are struggling big time, in my opinion. They need work, and that's the main thing that needs to change for them. Because when you've got a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, usually they can make anyone look good. And I truly believe that Aaron Rodgers is that type of quarterback. He's just not getting it from his team.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is definitely like one of the best quarterbacks of all time, arguably. So I think that he just doesn't have those trusted receivers, like you said. Like, this isn't a couple years ago where he had Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, and Jordy Nelson was really in his prime. So I think that he needs to trust himself and trust his receivers and stop forcing that big play.
Yeah, and speaking about Mike McCarthy, you know what? It's starting to get to be time for Mike McCarthy to go. It's really starting to appear that he doesn't even motivate his players. We look at these past 2 games, the Packers have just gotten off to horrible starts. Titans scored a touchdown on their first 5 possessions against them 2 weeks ago. You look at the game against the Indianapolis Colts, they went into the second half with a 24-10 deficit. So not only are they coming out weak, but there's been a couple games this year where they finished the game super poorly. You talk about giving up the lead to Atlanta, and then earlier in the season against Detroit, they had a 31-3 lead that they almost lost, and this sort of goes back to when they blew the lead against the Seahawks in the NFC Championship game. So if Mike McCarthy can't get it all done this season, I think it's almost time to move on from him.
I
all right,
agree.
and we're going to have to take a break here. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about college football and the NBA, so stay tuned here for more Peomiosfyrds.
Warhawks know what it takes to become champions. At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, our student athletes pursue excellence with a determination that inspires everyone on campus. Warhawks are smart. Warhawks are strong. Warhawks value service. We prepare our student athletes for life after college. The University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. Come be part of the Warhawk family.
Here at UW-Whitewater Intramural Sports, we have a motto: a sport for everyone and everyone in a sport.
Come on! Stepped it anyways. Oh, she got that off, and they're gonna count it.
Had a blast. Always have fun at intramurals.
Every day we strive to go above and beyond that goal by providing healthy exercise, promoting leisure education, and giving students that competitive atmosphere they are looking for.
Yes! Yes!
It's exciting. Brings me back to those high school days with Friday Night Lights.
With our 25 different intramural sports offered, we guarantee that we have a sport for you. Go to our website and find your sport today.
Video One Media Services provides accomplished students the opportunity to enhance their college experience by working with real-world clients. In addition, we provide clients local and affordable video options to better enhance their media needs. For more information on how Video One Media Services can help you with your next media project, email or call our office at 262-472-5659.
Only be described as an absolutely wild weekend in college football. 3 out of the top 4 teams suffered crushing losses all on the same day. Number 2, Clemson lost to Pittsburgh. Number 4, Washington lost to Southern California. And number 3, Michigan lost to Iowa. Clemson now has its 2nd loss of the season, but each of the other 2 losing teams now only have 1 loss in the season. Ohio State is the first one out in the first rankings at number 5, while Louisville sits at number 6. Which team out of the ones that lost has the best chances of coming back in, or if they can't, who can jump ahead and steal one of those spots?
Yeah, so you're talking about teams that have the best chance. I think Michigan themselves, they have the best chance just because of who they finished the regular season against. We talked about it a couple times. They finished the regular season against Ohio State. And Ohio State right now, they're going to be in that college football playoff ranking. So if Michigan can close out the season with a great win over Ohio State, they'll definitely put themselves into consideration. But speaking about teams that can sneak in, is one team that I really don't think anybody thought, including myself, Penn State. Even after Penn State beat Ohio State, I didn't think they had a shot at making the playoffs. But now if you look, if Ohio State can beat Michigan in that regular season finale, Penn State is going to get into the Big Ten championship game. A Big Ten championship win, I think, cements Penn State into the college football playoff, and I think along with that, Ohio State can make it in. So we might be seeing two Big Ten teams here in the playoff.
I do agree. I think Ohio State is a very talented team, 100%. So I definitely think that they can come back after that loss and, get their team together and recuperate.
You mean Michigan?
Michigan, yeah. But, they have a lot of injuries right now. Their quarterback's out. He has a collarbone issue. And, I think that if they can fix that, I think they definitely have a chance of doing great.
I'm gonna kind of side with Colton and say, we could see two Big Ten teams in. What I would say would happen would be in a bit of a weirder circumstance, Michigan and Ohio State. Obviously, a lot of weird stuff has to happen in order for that to be the case. But, I like Michigan. I think they've got a great offense. Same thing with Ohio State. Obviously, we talked about how Ohio State plays Michigan at the end of the year. And, with the way that game can turn out, you don't know what's going to happen. So I think if anybody's going to get back in, it's going to be Michigan. And then maybe Ohio State comes in as well. And I think Louisville could sneak in there, too, and take that fourth spot.
Yeah, I do agree. I think Louisville has a really great chance to get in. They're only one loss in the season. They lost to Clemson, who now after the loss is looking like they're going to be ranked around 5th or 6th in that area. So one loss to a top 10 ranked team isn't going to look bad there in the college football playoff rankings. Now we're going to move on from college football to the NBA. LeBron James has made it out of the Eastern Conference 6 years in a row. With this fact, it seems pretty clear that the Cleveland Cavaliers are the favorites to win the Eastern Conference. But where the East gets interesting is right behind the Cavs. Who do you guys think is the second best team in the Eastern Conference?
I like the Atlanta Hawks. I think I think they've got a very established offense. They've got a lot of playmakers. If anyone, aside from the fact that I'm a Bulls fan, and I do think the Bulls are going to be a team to watch as the season goes on. I don't know if they can really take that top spot, but I think they'll make the playoffs, and I think they'll make a pretty decent run. But in terms of somebody who has the second best chance of finishing in that top spot, I like the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay, well, I like the Toronto Raptors. I do agree with you with the Bulls, though. I think they're a pretty good team to beat. They're ranked number 3 right now, and DeRozan is leading the scoring in the league with more than 30 points in 8 straight games. So I think that he has a really good chance of pulling the whole team together. So they face the Cavs on Tuesday. So we'll have to see, really if they have a good chance of beating them or if they just get blown out.
Yeah, so speaking of DeRozan, the first guy since Michael Jordan to have 8 30-point games in the first 9 games of the season. So DeRozan has come out unbelievably hot. But I'm going to side with you, Blake. I really like what the Atlanta Hawks have done, both in the offseason and how they've come out and played throughout the season. The Atlanta Hawks are the only team in the NBA to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. We're talking about that clear-cut number 1 team. So I think that's a really good jump. They moved on from Jeff Teague to Dennis Schroeder playing point guard, and I think he's going to do a little bit better job of spreading that ball out, getting Kyle Korver in his spots, getting Paul Millsap in his spots, and then the big man in the middle, and one of the best reasons I think that they have a shot at getting that number 2 seed is they moved on from Al Horford and into Dwight Howard. I think Dwight Howard makes their team a little bit more moldable. They're better on the defensive end, better rebounding. Dwight Howard is 3rd in the league in rebounding right now, leading the league in field goal percentage. So he's just a great inside presence. And that, if you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, that's one thing that they are lacking. They're starting Tristan Thompson at center, who's only 6'8". So if you got a dominant guy out there like Dwight Howard, you really have a shot in any game against the Cavaliers.
Well, and keep in mind, you mentioned how well they're able to really move the ball around. When you've got Kyle Korver on the team, who has been one of the best three-pointers and shooters in the league for the past number of years, it just shows how dangerous they can be. And I think, with the new point guard situation and with Dwight Howard, when you have those weapons and you're able to really utilize ball movement like, some teams struggle with, mainly the Cavaliers, I think they get a little bit self-centered with LeBron. I think they don't always have the ball movement that they need to have, and they've got the personnel to do it. So, it makes me wonder sometimes why they don't always utilize that. But overall, it'll be a tough race.
Yeah. Speaking of that ball movement, they do have Mike Budenholzer, a former Spurs coach, so that's where that ball movement culture was brought over from.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, but coming up, we'll look at the NHL and the beginning of college basketball right here on Peomiosfyrds.
Here at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, we ensure the safety of others. Our CSOs provide a number of services, such as vehicle jump starts, vehicle unlocks, building lockouts, and walking escorts. Do not be afraid to call 472-4660. CSOs, always there to protect and serve.
Welcome to Jitters Coffee Lounge. Located on the first floor of the Wells Complex, Jitters is a student-ran, volunteer-based coffee lounge, open nightly from 8 p.m. to midnight. Jitters Coffee Lounge is home to classic hot and frozen drinks, with our favorite, the Oreogasm. Jitters offers live music, karaoke, and comedy events featuring both local and guest talents. For more information, visit our website at uwww.jitters.org. Jitters Coffee Lounge. We'll keep you up all night.
College basketball started last Friday. The number 1 ranked Duke Blue Devils were the only top-ranked team that played on Saturday. They beat Grand Canyon 96-61 with Grayson Allen putting up 25 points. Duke will play Kansas on Tuesday. 3 of their projected top players are recovering from injuries and don't expect to play against Kansas. It could be a possibility that this top-ranked team could be the underdog. Do you guys see Duke staying number 1, or are there any other teams that are catching your eye?
You know, the team that I'm going to be watching the most throughout the season is going to be Virginia. Along with that, also Michigan State. You know, they're both top 13, top 15 right now, so they're not anywhere near that top spot. But I think, you know, with how long the college basketball season is, you know, they could make that climb. But for right now, I like Kentucky. They've got a very strong roster. In their first game, they had 6 different guys scoring the double digits. So they're a well-rounded team. It shows they can really spread the ball around and really get every guy scoring. And I think in this level of college basketball, that's going to be one thing that's going to need to be key for a winning team.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty confident that, or I shouldn't say I'm pretty confident, but I do believe that Duke will lose that game against Kansas. You spoke about them. They're going to be missing their 3 incoming freshmen, Marquise Bolden, Harry Giles, and Jason Tatum. All of those guys are top tier recruits. And those are the freshman guys. Those are the Brandon Ingrams. Those are the Jabari Parker kind of guys that have been leading Duke these last couple of years. And if you look at Kansas, they lost their season opener, but they played a good game. They played against Indiana, who's a top 15 ranked team. I think they were 11th heading into the game, and they lost 102-99 in overtime. So it was a very closely contested game throughout. The Kansas senior point guard, Frank Mason, had 30 points and 9 assists, so he played a really great game. And then if you looked at it, their number 1 recruit coming in, Josh Jackson, he's a top 5 recruit coming into the class. He looked a little nervous out there. He might have been nervous because it was his college debut. Finished the day with only 9 points, 3 of 13 shooting, had 4 fouls, so he's in foul trouble for a lot of the thing. I think those nerves, I think they could be out of his system by the time they play Duke, and I think that'll push them over the top over Duke. I agree with you. I think Kentucky is the team to watch out for. They had the number 1 recruiting class coming in of 5 players inside the top 25 of the SI 100. So
I'm going to say that Duke's still a great team no matter what. I mean, they do have the injuries to figure out. But later in the season, I think that they're definitely going to be still staying number 1 just because everyone is coming back from their injuries and they're going to be healthy. And they're going to be just the team to really beat.
Yeah, you know, it'll be interesting. I always love college basketball. You know, obviously people say, oh, there's nothing to pay attention to really until March, which, you know, for some people is true. You know, everybody starts making the brackets and the bets start coming out and it gets a little bit more exciting. But, you know, it'll be an interesting race to see for sure, whether or not Duke can hold that top spot or not. So there is a new franchise coming to the National Hockey League. On November 22nd, the NHL will reveal the name, logo, and team colors of a new club representing the city of Las Vegas, Nevada. The team will be based in the Western Conference and will begin play in the 2017-2018 season. Games will be played in Vegas' T-Mobile Arena. Owner Bill Foley says that the team will most likely be called the Something Knights, quote unquote, with the colors of gray and black allegedly fitting into their color scheme. Do you guys think putting a team in the city of Las Vegas is going to be good for the NHL?
I think that it can benefit Las Vegas, the city. It brings more people, it brings more attraction. They just need to have a lot of patience because no team's going to be great right out of the bat. And another thing they need to look out for is building a connection with the community, because if the community is not interested in buying tickets, who is? So they really need to do something with the youth or, get people involved and into hockey.
Yeah, see, I think the NHL will really struggle trying to get going in Las Vegas. You look at Las Vegas, its population is 600,000. So 600,000 isn't that many. Most professional sports teams come from cities where there's over 1 million inhabitants. Las Vegas being at 600,000. Green Bay and Oakland are the only two cities in America that have professional sports teams that are smaller than Las Vegas. And when you think about those teams, well, first of all, Oakland has that entire Bay Area. So it's not just Oakland. And the other team is Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers are synonymous as having some of the best fans. They travel everywhere, and they have some of the most support. I mean, you have to wait 50 years to get season tickets here at Lambeau Field. So they have some of the best local support. And when you think of Las Vegas, you think of big winnings, right? Well, an expansion team is going to start off struggling, and I think that struggle combined with that low population number could give the Something Knights a little struggle to start out their franchise.
Colton, I do think I disagree with the whole population thing, because if you do look at Green Bay, they have a huge fan base. I have friends that are even trying to convince me that they are America's team as opposed to the Dallas Cowboys, who actually have that nickname. But I'm not going to get into that. I think it'll be good. I think you look at Las Vegas; they're a huge tourist city. There's always something going on involving a ton of people in Las Vegas. Sure, their population of people that actually live there is not all that big, but I think in terms of sports and in terms of the NHL, it'll be a good thing, and I think it'll be really cool to watch it develop in terms of how good the team's going to be. Who knows?
Yeah, it's interesting because when people go to Las Vegas, do you think they're really going to go and want to see a hockey game, something that they can see in basically any other part of the country, even parts of Canada? When you go to Las Vegas, I think you're looking more for the shows and the gambling and stuff like that, so I think that could be a struggle for the team. All right, and we're going to take our final break, but when we come back, we're going to run through our 2-minute drill, so stay tuned here to Peomiosfyrds.
At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, we're passionate about learning. Our talented faculty members blend teaching with research, creating hands-on learning experiences for students. Warhawk pride thrives at UW-Whitewater, where student athletes excel on the field and in the classroom, where diversity is celebrated. A tradition of excellence 140 years in the making. Find your passion here.
The UC can get you connected to all your basic needs. Grab a coffee and a meal. Study by the fireplace. Bowl, play, and relax when you want to break from homework. The UC has much more to offer to Whitewater students. Go to the UC's website to see what's going on this week.
Turn us on. Flip them off. 91.7 WSUW. 91.7 is a student-run radio station serving the Whitewater area with a variety of original programs, live sports broadcasting, community events, and more. So turn us on. 91.7 FM. Or stream us live at 917theedge.com.
As an Army ROTC cadet at Whitewater, you have the opportunity to develop into a great leader while learning and applying the Army values to your everyday life. Within ROTC, you have the chance to travel overseas in the CULP program to train with other militaries, attend many elite Army schools such as Airborne and Combat Diver, and you have the opportunity to attend conferences and guest lectures by some of the Army's top-ranking officers. Our Warhawk cadets participate in many extracurricular activities, Division III sports, Greek life, intramural sports, among many other team building and community service events. Being a cadet at Whitewater is more than just being part of the Army. It's also about being active members in our community and coming together to form a family atmosphere. Anyone who wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves while developing themselves professionally should consider UW-Whitewater ROTC. To sign up for UW-Whitewater ROTC, go to the 4th floor of McCutcheon Hall to room 417.
Welcome back. Let's run through our 2-minute drill and I'll get us going. For those of you guys who know me, or for those who don't know me, I am a diehard Green Bay Packers fan, and I'm a diehard New York Knicks fan. I was with the Knicks when they went 17 and 65. They were worst team in the league. And you know what? I stick with my teams, but my teams need to start playing defense. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about the Packers. The Packers have the 9th worst defense in the NFL. We're talking about scoring allowed. They're coming off 2 horrible weeks. They gave up 47 points to the Tennessee Titans, who aren't that great on the offensive end. And then they gave up over 30 to the Colts, and then over 30 to the Falcons the week before. So the Packers are playing horrible defense. And to speak of the Knicks are playing the 3rd worst defense in the league. Step it up, guys. You got Joakim, you got KP. Let's get it going.
You got to pick new teams.
You really do. I'm not going to argue that. I'm going to take a couple minutes to wish a quick best wishes to Carolina Hurricanes forward Brian Bickle, also former Blackhawks forward Brian Bickle, diagnosed with multiple sclerosis this past week. Really bad disease that attacks your immune system, and you really just hate to see stuff like this happen to successful professional athletes. You know, they've just got so much going for them, and they rely so much on their athletic ability, and especially when you got a disease like this, that'll just deplete that. It's really, really tough to see, and I wish him the best in his recovery.
All right, well, I'm going to bring it to Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys. I definitely think he is NFL MVP 100%. He said he wanted to get 2,000 yards for this season, and he's already at 1,005 rushing yards. And he had 3 touchdowns on Sunday, and I definitely think he is number 1.
Yeah, and that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, and for more national sports news, tune in weekly. For Alex Bergman, Blake Harmon, I'm Colton Hagstrom. This has been Peomiosfyrds, and we'll see you guys next week.